Hey plant friends, can you believe that we already have some plants that are blooming? Well, we're going to talk about that and so much more on today's episode of Seedling Sunday. This week, I have some repotting videos to share with you. I also have some videos to show you how I went ahead and fertilized all of my seedlings. And obviously, we're going to go over the fact that a couple of them are already starting to bloom and are getting quite big. I'm really impressed. It's only April 13th and everything is looking really great. So let's dive right in and take a look at everything. This week was the seedlings' first time outside getting some nice warm air. I'm really excited that I can finally put them out during the daytime. Unfortunately, it's not quite warm enough at night yet for me to leave them outside, but I genuinely do not mind moving them in and out every day. Like I said in previous videos, the last frost date here in Montana isn't until June 3rd, which is over a month away, and unfortunately, I don't think these babies are going to wait for June 3rd to really pop off. I did go ahead and add some of the garden fertilizer to these guys, and I can do a whole video talking about the different types of fertilizers I use for different types of plants. It does take me a while to get everything watered now that I've added the seedlings into my routine, but it's really peaceful being able to just spend a little bit of extra time outside in the sun taking care of them. Have any of you started your gardens yet? And if you have, what do you have started? I'm curious. I know that there are obviously lots of other places around the world who are already starting their gardens, and it is peak summertime for them already. So I'm genuinely curious, what do you guys have growing right now? Also, this past week, I was able to get up to the property where my garden is, and I was able to dump all of my plant waste that I had collected over the winter. Save all of my plant waste in these old dirt bags that I use up, and I just collect it, it all dries out, and then I add it to a compost pile, and all of this plant waste will break down and turn into nutrient-rich dirt, which I will then be able to use in my garden. There were a few pieces of trash that ended up in the bags, and I made sure to pick up all of that so there was nothing man-made left behind. I really do hate leaving stuff out and littering. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, so I do make sure to clean up all of that garbage that you see fall out. As it starts getting warmer, I will be able to get into the greenhouse and my garden and start doing my spring cleanup. I choose to leave the majority of my plants in there. That way, little critters and bugs have a place to hibernate for the winter, and I have found it to be actually pretty beneficial for the soil. Everything kind of breaks down and adds compost to it, so I'm a big fan of leaving the leaves. Up these beautiful beefsteak tomatoes. They both look really good, and I am just going to pot them together. I have a feeling that this one is going to outlive the smaller one, but I hope that they both make it. I did choose to go ahead and put these tomatoes in their final pot for the summer. As they grow, I can add a larger tomato cage around it, and if need be, I can go ahead and separate them, but for now, I'm going to keep them together in this larger pot. I currently have 10 different tomato plants that are potted up in nursery pots right now with soil, and then I have 3 in aqua gardens that are getting really big, and I'm really impressed with the size of them. It just goes to show that you can grow these guys in a variety of different ways and still get amazing results. Go ahead and add a couple of stakes in here just to support them while they're still small, and like I said, they will grow into this pot and that tomato cage will be perfect for them. So there we have it, 2 really nice looking beefsteak tomatoes, and as always, remember to label your pots. These are a couple more beefsteak tomatoes. They each look really good. When I ended up pulling these 2 out of the nursery pot, I was pretty impressed with the roots, and I'm very happy with how they are growing. Just like the other pots, I will definitely go ahead and add a tomato cage around these guys as they get bigger, and if need be, I will go ahead and separate them. But like I said earlier, I really hope that they can grow together and kind of lean on each other. I genuinely didn't really think through how quickly everything would grow. I do think that I have the perfect environment for them between my grow lights and my plant room, and everything just kind of grew really quickly. So I was hoping that everything would grow much slower and that I would actually be able to get them into either the greenhouse at the end of May, and that's when they would really start to grow, or plant them in the garden after the last frost date of June 3rd, and then that's when they would really grow. But clearly, the plants had other plans and they are growing like crazy already. Lemon balm and some Italian basil. So herbs are one plant that I do think that you could start at any point in time, anytime throughout the year really, because you can grow the majority of them indoors, and that means that you could even grow herbs in the middle of winter. I have green onions that grow year round. I keep them in an aqua garden and I love it. I also try to keep basil and rosemary alive throughout the winter. I'm gonna end up doing a whole video segment on medicinal herbs and what I use them for because they are so much more than just seasoning. If you go outside and look around, I can almost guarantee you that there are plants around you right now that you could use medicinally for something. Even basil is good for dogs because it helps boost their metabolism, which I know that there are some dogs out there that could use just a little bit of a boost. So not only can herbs be used for you, but they can also be used for your pets in a large variety of ways, and I would love to share with you some different ways that I use them in my day-to-day life, because once I found out about medicinal plants, it really changed my outlook on pharmaceuticals, and I switched to medicinal as much as I could. As these little basil plants get bigger, I'll probably end up pruning off the ones that don't grow as well, because like I said, I can start it at any point in time. Don't forget to label them, and there is our Italian basil. Next is this tomato that I needed to transplant from a nursery pot that had 4 of them together. These I left 2 in this guy and just added some more soil on top, as well as a couple stakes to help keep them straight. This next one definitely looks a little bit better, and so I gave him a larger pot, and we'll see how he does. As he grows, I probably will up him to a much larger pot because this is a beefsteak tomato and they get quite large. I had a few other little things that I wanted to share with you guys, one of them being my pitcher plant, who is currently putting off 3 new baby pitchers. Pitcher plants are carnivorous plants that eat little bugs that fly around in the air. They are usually found in marshes and prefer rainwater or distilled water, and they prefer quite a lot of humidity. Now onto what I'm really excited about. A couple of my plants are already starting to bloom, including the string bean, which has a flower on it, and this random bean, which has just the beginning stages of buds on it. I will end up adding an additional trellis to this plant as they get bigger, but I can't wait to see when they start producing because it's quite early. Same thing goes for a couple of my squashes. This is a yellow summer squash that has buds on it, and this is a spaghetti squash that has buds on it, and this makes me really excited because I only have 2 spaghetti squash plants. I did a whole separate video on my apple tree seedlings this week that I'm going to go ahead and upload, but I wanted to show you just how big they're getting because they are starting to look like little baby trees. I'm definitely going to keep these guys in these small pots until they're quite a bit larger, simply because trees do not like being transplanted and do prefer tighter pots. And this is how everything else is looking. As you can see, the corn is getting quite tall and all of the squash and pumpkins are looking great. They really did like spending some time outside. Unfortunately, a couple of them did develop some sunspots, but they will bounce right back. This is one of the tomatoes in the aqua garden that I was telling you guys about, and I'm gonna show you guys the roots here. So this is in its own aqua garden because the roots will tangle in the water pump system and it won't run as well. So I only keep 1 tomato in this guy. Depending on how long the roots, that's kind of what determines how many I will keep in a certain aqua garden. But as you can see, the roots are getting long and it is in the farthest spot from the water pump. Here's another picture of all of the buds that are on my spaghetti squash that makes me just so excited, and the same thing here on the yellow summer squash. At the end of the day, I think everything is looking really good, and I am very pleased with how everything is growing and turning out. I'm definitely going to keep posting videos of the seedlings and updating them, but I might need to update the name because they're not so small seedlings anymore. They're more like garden plants. So if you guys enjoyed this video, there's a couple more in the playlist linked below, and I think that you'll enjoy those as well. And as always, thank you so much for all the love and support. If you guys have any recommendations, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. Have a great day.